Hi guys, it's Rachelle here. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Right now, it's currently the start of summer, and there's no better way to start the summer by reading a whole bunch of summery books. I don't know about you, but I just love reading summery books in the summer because it's just so fitting and it makes the summer feel a little bit more fun in my opinion. So in this video, I'm going to give you a whole bunch of summer book recommendations. All of these books have a very summery feel to it, which makes it a perfect read for this time of year. Let's just jump right into these book recs, but before we do, if you guys haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to my channel, click the bell icon to stay up to date of when and what I post, and give this video a thumbs up. And without further ado, let's get on with this video. Okay, so the first book rec I have for you guys is actually a series, and that series is The Summer I Turned Pretty series by Jenny Han. I believe I have the first edition of the book, so these covers are super old. Anyways, the first book in the series is The Summer I Turned Pretty. The second book is It's Not Summer Without You. And then the third book is We'll Always Have Summer. This series is a young adult romance. It features a love triangle with this girl named Belly and two brothers named Jeremiah and Conrad. These three practically grew up together. Every summer, Belly and her family goes to Cousin's Beach and they spend the entire summer with Jeremiah and Conrad and their mother at their beach house. For the longest time, Belly has been crushing on Conrad, and Conrad kind of sees her as her little sister. But this summer, Belly is hoping that things will be different. However, this summer there are a few distractions, as there is this new boy named Cam, and there are also some lingering looks from Jeremiah. This is a story about young love and first loves as a teenager, and it is super cute. It's definitely a book to pick up in the summer because, of course, it takes place in the summer. I'm not gonna lie though, the first book, The Summer I Turned Pretty, was kind of hard for me to get into, and I almost DNF'd the series after the first book, but after watching the first season of the show, I kind of fell in love with the characters, which motivated me to continue reading the series, and I'm so glad I did because I actually really enjoyed it. This is kind of drifting away from the books, but season 2 of the show is coming out this July, and I'm so excited to watch it. The next book rec I have for you is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This is a romance novel that fits into the childhood friends to lovers trope. This book follows Percy. Instead of spending summers at the lakeshore where she grew up, she spends them in an apartment in the city until she gets a message that sends her back home and back into the orbit of Sam. As children, Sam and Percy have been inseparable, and slowly their friendship became something more until it fell apart. As adults, when Percy returns to the lakeshore, it leads to her reconnecting with Sam and her confronting the decision she's made and the years she spent punishing herself from them in order to determine whether their love is bigger than the biggest mistake of their past. This story is told over the course of 5 years and 1 weekend, so it flips back and forth between past and present. This was an enjoyable read for me, but I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites only because some of the characters and the choices they made bothered me a little bit. The next book is also by Carly Fortune, and that book is called Meet Me at the Lake. This is again a romance novel. This book follows Fern, and in her early 20s, she spent 24 hours roaming around Toronto with this artist named Will. However, the timing was wrong, but their connection was undeniable, so they made a pact to meet up with each other 1 year later. Fern showed up, but Will didn't. In the present day though, at 32 years old, Fern is back home running her mother's Muskoka Lakeside Resort, something she vowed she would never do. She needs a lifeline, and to her surprise, it comes in the form of Will, who is 9 years late. This book also flips back and forth between past and present. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. The characters were 100% likable, and I never found myself bored reading this one. I actually like this book a lot more than Every Summer After. The next book is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This is a romance novel that fits into the enemies to lovers trope, which is actually one of my favorite tropes. In this story, the love interests Olive and Ethan are at a wedding. However, everybody at the wedding ends up getting food poisoning except for Olive and Ethan. Since everyone is sick, there is an all expenses paid for honeymoon in Hawaii up for grabs. And to avoid wasting the trip, Olive and Ethan must go on this trip to Hawaii together, in place for the bride and groom. This one is honestly a really cute romance. It reads like a rom-com, and in my opinion, that automatically makes it a perfect summer read. And of course, it definitely gives us summer vibes because it features a beach vacation in Hawaii. Something I really loved about this book is the funny banter between Olive and Ethan. It's very entertaining, and the book definitely was a page turner. The next book I have for you guys is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This is a romance novel that fits into the childhood friends to lovers trope, told in alternating timelines between then and now. Teenage Elliot and Macy grow from friends to so much more, spending weekends and lazy summers together in a house outside side of San Francisco, devouring books, sharing favorite words, and talking through their growing pains and triumphs. As adults, they have become strangers to one another until their reunion. Although their memories are kind of obscured by the agony of what happened that night so many years ago, Elliot will come to understand the truth behind Macy's decade-long silence, and will have to overcome the past and himself to revive her faith in her possibility of an all-consuming love. The characters in this book are very likable. I love both Macy and Elliot. One thing I will say about this book is that it did take its time to reveal the answers we were looking for. It's not really a slow read, it's more like a medium-paced book, but the history and the present-day timeline kind of unfold at a very steady and constant pace that it did take me longer than most romances to finish reading. The next book rec I have for you guys is Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is a romance novel that fits into the enemies to lovers trope. It is about two authors, January and Gus. They are both currently experiencing writer's block, and to get each other out of it, they strike a summer-long deal and challenge each other to write a novel while switching genres. Gus will write something happy while January pens the next great American novel. In this book, I love seeing the transition between enemies to lovers, all because January and Gus are literally polar opposites. This book definitely gives us summer vibes because of course it does take place in the summer, but also January and Gus both live in cute little beach houses by the waters. If I remember correctly, they don't really live along the beach. It's actually more like a lake. So the title being Beach Read is a little misleading, but nevertheless, the book still gives us summer vibes. The next book in this list is Happy Place by Emily Henry. This is a fake dating romance novel, but I'd also say it's a literary fiction novel. Honestly, if I were to describe Emily Henry's books, I would say they are literary fiction novels with a strong element of romance in it. I don't know, it kind of reads and feels a lot different than most romance novels in my opinion. In this book, Harriet and Wynne broke up 6 months ago, but they haven't told their best friends yet, which is how they find themselves sharing the largest bedroom at the main cottage that has been their friend group's yearly getaway for the last decade. For 1 week, they leave behind their daily lives, have copious amount of cheese, wine, and seafood, and soak up the salty coastal air with the people who understand them the most. This book is really about a group of friends on a summer vacation together, but it just features a romance between Harriet and Wynne. I really did love reading this book. It was really great reading about the dynamic between this group of friends. And I have to say, this is probably my favorite Emily Henry book so far. The next book rec I have for you is Book Lovers, also by Emily Henry. This is also an enemies to lovers romance, but I'd also say that it's a literary fiction novel. This book follows Nora, a literary agent. She agrees to go to Sunshine Falls, North Carolina for the month of August when Libby begs for her sister's vacation away. But instead of picnics in meadows, or run-ins with handsome country doctors, or bulging four-armed bartenders, Nora keeps bumping into Charlie, a brooding book editor from back in the city. It would be a mute cute if not for the fact that they've met many times and it's never been cute. A lot of people like this book, but it just wasn't for me. I just didn't expect where the story would go, and I wasn't necessarily happy with where the story went. But that is just my opinion though. You might like this book, so I thought I would just suggest it to you guys anyways, because of course it does have some very summery vibes to it. The next book is again another Emily Henry novel, and that is People We Meet on Vacation. This is a romance novel. In this story, every year, two best friends, Poppy and Alex, take a week of vacation together until 2 years ago, when they ruined everything and haven't spoken since. Poppy has everything she should want, but she's stuck in a rut. When someone asks her when she was last truly happy, she knows without a doubt it was on that last trip with Alex. And so she decides to convince her best friend to take one more trip together, to lay everything out on the table and make it right. I also didn't really like this book by Emily Henry. It just felt so slow to me, and because of that, I kind of lost interest in the story. Unfortunately, the pacing of a book is a huge factor in making me love a story. However, if you are someone who doesn't mind slower reads, maybe give this book a try. Who knows, maybe you'll enjoy it and you'll love it. It definitely is a summertime read because Poppy and Alex are on vacation. And now that I think of it, this book is definitely a book you should take with you when you are on vacation. I'm sure it'll be so nice to read about a vacation when you are on vacation. The next book rec I have for you guys is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is a historical fiction novel. In Malibu of 1983, the four Rivas siblings throw an epic party to celebrate the end of summer. Everyone wants to be in the company of the famous Rivas. Nina, the surfer and model, her brothers Jay and Hud, one of them a championship surfer, the other a well-known photographer, and Kit, the adored baby of the family. As if that picture-perfect family isn't enough, their father is Mick Riva, the legendary singer. By morning, the Riva mansion will have burned to the ground, and no one will know how the fire started. But before the first spark, in the early hours before dawn, the alcohol will flow, music will play, and the loves and secret yearnings that shape the family across generations will all come bubbling to the surface to make for a night no one will forget. If that book description doesn't scream summer to you, then I don't know what will, because in my opinion, this book is nothing but summer vibes. It might be because TJR is one of my favorite authors, but I absolutely love this book. It was very entertaining and the family drama was just so spicy. The last summer book rec I have for you guys is also by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and that book is Carrie Soto is Back. This is again a historical fiction novel. Carrie Soto is fierce and her determination to win at any cost has made her popular. But by the time she retires from tennis, she is the best player the world has seen. But 6 years after her retirement, Carrie finds herself sitting in the stands of the 1994 US Open, watching her record be taken away from her by a brutal, stunning player named Nikki Chan. At 37, Carrie makes the monumental decision to come out of retirement and be coached by her father for one last year in an attempt to reclaim her record. This book isn't necessarily a summer read. I think you can read it any time of the year if you wanted to, but because this book centers around tennis, a very summery sport, this feels like a summer read to me, and that's why I included it in this video. I absolutely love reading this book. Carrie Soto is just amazing. She is a badass female character, and I found myself being able to relate to her in a lot of parts of the book because I grew up as a competitive athlete as well. This is a very powerful novel about the cost of greatness. It's a very emotional and vulnerable read, and so I highly recommend this book. It's one of my all-time favorites. Alright guys, these are all the summer book recommendations I have for you guys. I really hope this video helped you guys decide some of the books you want to read this summer. If you end up adding some of these books to your summer TBR or you've already read them, please let me know your thoughts of them in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys think. If you guys like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel while you're at it if you haven't already done so. And if you guys also want to stay up to date with what I'm currently up to when I'm not making videos for you guys, definitely follow me on all of my social media platforms. I will have all the links to my profiles in the description box below. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!
Pull the key out the ignition. Run your mouth but I never listen. You hold me back, will never last. Keep talking all your shit. Wondering how all this started. You left me broken hearted. You flip my words, yeah, this love hurts. Keep talking all your shit.